Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your game by subscribing to our channel so you never miss our daily content. For exclusive access to our premium betting picks, join our Patreon. Find the link in the comments section below. Stay ahead with High Stakes.
Colorado Rockies versus Milwaukee Brewers. It hasn't been easy backing the Rockies this season, but the Brewers are arguably hitting their worst of the season. Meanwhile, the Colorado bullpen has ratcheted things down to start the month of September, and the offense has tended to hit better on the road. Milwaukee sits bottom 10 in strikeout rate and are leaving runners stranded at one of the highest rates in baseball. Look for the Rockies to keep it close here. Neither of these offenses are off to a good start for September, and they also both sit bottom 1-0 in home run rate. The Brewers have been hitting weaker at home this season, and both pitching staffs have been heaving well in night games. With the Rockies' high strikeout rate and the Brewers regularly leaving runners stranded, expect this total to stay under the number. Washington Nationals versus Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates have dominated this head-to-head matchup, and while Ortiz is not typically used in the starting role, he has tossed well this season and has been finding ways to stump foes at the plate, holding a sub.200 OBA in both night games and in the month of August. Washington has been walked at one of the lowest rates in baseball, and the Pirates, while inconsistent at times, have been hitting their best at home this season. Simply put, neither of these offenses strike fear in opposing pitchers. Pittsburgh sits bottom 10 in home run and extra base hit rate, which has caused their offense to stall out early in innings. The Nationals are hitting home runs at one of the lowest rates in baseball, and both of these clubs are hitting sub.200 for the month. Hers has found ways to rack up the Ks, while Ortiz holds a strong OBA on the road and under the lights. Don't expect fireworks. Tampa Bay Rays versus Baltimore Orioles. While the pitching matchup in this one features two starters that have struggled to find their groove recently, there's no doubting the major talent advantage lies with Baltimore in this one, and that should make all the difference. Despite a victory last time out, the Rays have just a 2-8 record against the Orioles over their past 10 head-to-head encounters, with Baltimore outscoring them 52-25 in that time. And with home field advantage that has given them a 41-31 mark this season, expect a dominant outing here from the Orioles. The matchup of Shane Baz versus Dean Kramer in this one features two players with ERAs over 3.50 on the year, and with two talented offenses that have scored 8 runs per game total this season against each other, with Baltimore averaging over 5 runs a game in that time. So look for that to continue in Game 1 of this critical AL East series. For the Rays, the over sits at 5.32 in their past 10 overall games, with the team allowing 5 runs per game over that stretch, and for the Orioles, the over is 7-3 in that same span, with the team scoring 52 runs in that span, showing that they are one of the most dynamic teams in all of baseball. Keep it simple, take the over. Cincinnati Reds versus New York Mets. This is just Brandon Williamson's second game on the mound this season, but Sean Manaea has been pitching well at home, as in 13 home starts he is 5-3 with a 3.82 ERA and a .208 batting average against in 73.0 innings so far. Offensively, the home/road splits show a gap as well, with Cincinnati being 18th with a .695 team OPS while scoring 4.58 runs in 66 road games, while New York is 15th with a .728 team OPS while averaging 4.63 runs in 71 home games. All in all, go with the New York Mets to win at home. Over the last couple of weeks, both teams have been scoring well, as the Reds are averaging 4.86 runs in their last 14 games, while the Mets are scoring 4.92 runs in their previous 13 games played. Neither bullpen throughout the season has been able to pitch too well, as Cincinnati is 12th in MLB with a 3.88 reliever ERA, while New York is 15th in baseball with a 3.92 bullpen ERA right now. Go with over 8 runs in this game as the better play. Philadelphia Phillies versus Miami Marlins. The pitching splits show a massive difference so far this season, as Zach Wheeler is 4-3 with a 3.11 ERA and a .208 batting average against in 72.1 innings, 12 road games. while Edward Cabrera is 0-2 with a 4.17 ERA and a 1.34 WHIP in 41.0 innings, 8 home games. These teams are also on two completely different levels in terms of the ability to hit with runners in scoring position, as the Philadelphia Phillies are 11th with a .766 team OPS in those at-bats, while the Miami Marlins are down at 24th place with a .696 team OPS with runners in scoring position this season. All in all, go with the Philadelphia Phillies to cover the run line as the better bet to make. These pitchers are making their first start in the month of September, but did well in August as Zach Wheeler went 3-1 with a 1.62 ERA and a 0.85 WHIP in 39.0 innings, 6 starts, while Edward Cabrera finished 2-3 with a 3.58 ERA and a 1.38 WHIP in 32.2 innings, 6 starts. As of late, these teams have been pitching at a great level, as the Philadelphia Phillies are 8th in Major League Baseball with a 3.38 team ERA in their last 6 games, while the Miami Marlins are 10th with a 3.67 team ERA in the previous week. Go with under 7.5 total runs in this game, as it makes the most sense for this game as well. Chicago White Sox versus Boston Red Sox. Well, there are only so many ways that you can describe how pathetic the White Sox have been this year. Chicago has a built-in off day on Thursday, so they're currently 32-109 as of this writing. That puts them 48.5 games out of first place in the American League Central. It's tough to narrow in on one specific area that's led them to being the worst team of all time. Offensively, they're dead last in runs per game, 3.06, and OPS, .618, while sitting 29th in average, .220. As for the pitching, Chicago's 29th in both ERA, 4.87, and WHIP, 1.46. The White Sox were recently riding another 12-game losing streak, but they snapped it in Wednesday's series finale against the Orioles. Chicago cruised to an 8-1 victory behind a solid 5.2-inning effort from Jonathan Cannon, 1 ER. Offensively, Nicky Lopez and Andrew Vaughn each homered in the winning effort. Davis Martin will head to the bump for Friday's series opener, and this will be just the 7th start, 8th appearance of the year for the 27-year-old. The right-hander has looked decent, going just 0-3, but posting a 3.62 ERA and 1.39 WHIP over 32.1 innings pitched. Most recently, Martin faced the Mets on Saturday, giving up 4 earned runs on 5 hits and a walk over 5.0 innings. It was a losing effort in a 5-3 defeat, and Chicago has now dropped all 7 of his outings this year. The White Sox have been a pretty easy fade this whole season. However, you're typically having to lay a substantial price to oppose them on the money line. In Friday's opener, the cheapest moneyline price available is Boston -265. Now, are we sure that the Red Sox warrant a -265 moneyline price? I mean, they're in the midst of a 5-game losing streak where they're averaging a measly 1.6 runs per game. I'm going to take a shot on the White Sox on the run line in this one. I think it's the right way to play the side, considering the Red Sox are in terrible form offensively. Furthermore, Nick Pivetta hasn't been reliable either, registering a 5.23 ERA in 4 August starts, 20.2 IP. All things considered, I think we're getting a valuable payout with the White Sox at +1.5, +110. They are coming off of a winning effort over the Orioles, so maybe they'll continue to ride the wave of excitement. I already mentioned that the Red Sox are in horrendous offensive form above, scoring just 1.6 runs per game over their last 5 contests. Over the last 7 days, Boston is 28th in team batting average, .203, and 29th in OPS, .558. They'll take on Davis Martin, who has actually been serviceable with a 3.62 ERA this year. On the flip side, the White Sox are still the worst offense in the MLB. They're 29th in team batting average, .220, and 30th in OPS, .618, throughout the whole season. Furthermore, Nick Pivetta has had their number in the past, limiting the current roster to a slash line of .182/.280/.205 over 44 at-bats. I think runs will be at a premium in Friday's opener, so I'll gladly take a flyer on the under at this elevated number of 9.0 runs. Toronto Blue Jays versus Atlanta Braves. The Blue Jays seem to have the Braves' number of late, sweeping 3 straight series against them. Despite results, Blue Jays starting pitching has been excellent in the last few weeks, with the occasional hiccup here and there. Gausman has alternated a win with a loss in his last 4 starts, and he lost last time out. He has a 2.20 ERA over his last 5 starts, and he has a 2.52 ERA in 13 starts on the road this season. His counterpart, Fried, has been a bit erratic over the past month, allowing 16 walks in his last 32 2/3 innings. He has gone 0-2 in his last 5 starts at home, and he has a 4.05 ERA in 9 starts at Truist this season. The Braves haven't defeated the Jays since 2020, losing 9 in a row against them, including 3 straight in Atlanta. Take the Blue Jays. This series has some strong starting pitching, but this is the best head-to-head matchup of starters. Gausman has been a very solid option for the Blue Jays on the road this season. He's allowed just 21 earned runs and 8 home runs in 75 innings on the road this season. Opponents have hit .226 against him in 13 road starts. Fried has a 4.05 ERA in 9 home starts this season, but has allowed 2 runs or less in 3 of his last 5 starts at Truist. Both of the offenses in his series sit in the bottom half of the game in terms of scoring, the Braves sitting 16th with 4.29 runs per game average, while the Jays sit 18th with 4.24 runs a night. Between the two teams, the under has hit 147 times and has also gone 6-4 in the last 10 games between these two. Take the under.